Back out here with the EAA 2311 Match X. I've got a more appropriate optic on it, the Holosun EPS, Surefire X300, and an 8-pound recoil spring and buffer. Let's see what a difference this makes. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. This is the EAA 2311 Match X Part 2. So 2 weeks ago, I did the very first shots with this pistol. We put the first 100 rounds through it, and as I mentioned, we will be documenting the first 1,000 rounds through this gun in a series of videos. Now, I got a lot of interesting feedback to that video. A lot of people loved it. I got a lot of new subscribers from that video, and it did pretty well. But as far as the comments went, I got a lot of hate, and I think that a lot of it comes from people that don't really understand the 2011 platform. So we're going to explain a little bit of that, but at the same time, I did everything that I could to limit any factors this time that could affect reliability. I purchased more Checkmate magazines, so not running any Prodigy magazines now, even though Springfield Prodigy mags are 2011 pattern magazines. I also went out and bought a bunch of Blazer Brass 124 grain. Even though I've got like over 1,000 rounds of 124 grain, it's a bunch of mixed bag stuff. Wanted to make sure that I knew what ammo was running through it. And I still had one failure to extract. Other than that, the gun actually ran really well. Everyone got so mad in the comments last time that I tried Prodigy mags with it, which are also 2011 mags, 2011. So I bought more Checkmate mags. See if that makes a difference. Seems like it does. So we've made a few updates to this pistol. 2 weeks ago, I had the Holosun 407K on here, mainly because I just had that optic sitting around. I have a lot of pistol optics, probably 2 or 3 times as many pistol optics as I have pistols, because a lot of them have been sent to the channel. And this has the RMSC or Holosun K footprint cut into the slide. And so that optic worked for the time being. Now, one of the issues I had with it is that the optic came loose because I had the wrong screws. Now, the screws that I used were the screws that have put that optic on 3 other pistols. So that's the standard RMSC K footprint screws. Well, this gun comes from Turkey, and what I found is that it uses metric screws. And in fact, now I have a Holosun EPS full size on here, which I think is a much more appropriate optic because this is a full-size gun. Luckily, the Holosun EPS shares the RMSC or K footprint, and so it's a full-size optic that works with this footprint. It does overhang the slide a little bit, but again, not any wider than the ambi safeties here. That doesn't bother me. I like having a full-size optic on a full-size gun. But none of the screws that came with the EPS would work with this slide cut. What I had to do, luckily, O-Sight sent me all these optics recently, and they come with a lot of different kinds of screws, and they did come with the correct screws for this optic cut. So, we've got the Holosun EPS on here now. Surefire X300, and we're going to talk about that in a minute too, because I hate to bring it up. People either... The pores don't like it that I mention anything that's wrong with this pistol, and the snobs don't like it that I would compare it to a Staccato XC, even though it's literally, obviously, what they were trying to copy with this design. Well, there is one more little bit of an issue with it. The pick rail on the bottom here, which is sweet, full dust cover, full pick rail, it's like not in spec. So the Surefire X300, with either of the keys that comes with it, does not mount in the correct place here. I had to modify it a little bit, but we'll talk about that here in a minute too. This video is sponsored by Venice AI. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Venice AI yet, but it's pretty cool. AI, artificial intelligence, it is like the hot new thing the last couple of years. Everybody's heard of ChatGPT, DeepSeek. Well, DeepSeek's software is open source. So Venice AI basically used that, but what they did is they made it private and permissionless. See, the thing is DeepSeek, yeah, you can use its incredible features to do all of the things that AI can do for you, but all of your information gets stored on Chinese servers and of course can also be censored by the Chinese. Well, Venice AI uses that same software, but it is private. You don't have to worry about any of your private information getting, stolen by the Chinese, which is pretty sweet. ChatGPT is the other big one that everybody seems to really be using a lot for, well, as a tool to do all kinds of incredible things. But one of the guys on the board of ChatGPT was also on the board of the NSA, which we all know what they do. They spy on us. Well, Venice AI, you don't have to worry about that either. So check out Venice AI using my link, first link in the description down below. That link is venice.ai/sawtooth tactical. And in fact, you can get 20% off a pro plan using code Sawtooth Tactical. So check it out. If you want to use all of the powerful things that AI can give you, but privately and securely and encrypted, use my link. Again, venice.ai/Sawtooth Tactical, 20% off with code Sawtooth Tactical. Back to the X300 on here. It looks perfect on this gun. But part of the reason you use an X300 on a full-size 5-inch 2011 like this is for that flush aesthetic. Well, no matter which key I used, whether I used the Picatinny one, 1913 rail key, or, well, actually the 1913 one didn't even fit in these Picatinny slots. And this is objectively the better mounting system for an X300. So that's the one I went with. But then the universal rail mounted it too far forward and it stuck out here, kind of like this does on my Prodigy. I don't want this to stick out on a full-size gun. I want the switches to be right here. So I had to modify the key, basically just filed it down a little bit to make it work on here, and it does work. Now, the only other modification that I have made to this so far is I did replace the recoil spring. It comes with a 14-pound spring and a 16-pound spring. That is very heavy for this style of gun. So I replaced it with an 8-pound staccato spring. This is the package that it came in. This is not the staccato spring. This is the old spring that came in the gun. 8-pound staccato spring and one of these buffers, which is, by the way, exactly the same recoil system that I'm running in my Prodigy. 8-pound spring with one of these Wilson Combat buffers. And that gun has been 100% reliable and is ridiculously soft shooting. Putting that same combo in this pistol, well, it wasn't 100% reliable. I had one failure to extract today. Failure to extract has nothing to do with a lighter recoil spring. Other than that, it was perfectly reliable and it shot so much flatter. Now, of course, the weight of the X300 is going to help that a little bit too as far as felt recoil goes. But the lighter spring and buffer, this gun really felt like a comped 2011 now. And in fact, it felt very, very similar to the Staccato XC, which I have shot quite a bit. And now, for all the people in the comments saying you can't compare this to a Staccato XC, what the hell else would you compare this gun to except for the Staccato XC? Now, yeah, totally different price points, different quality control. One of them's made in America, one's made in Turkey. I get that. But you know what? What do you think they were going for with this design? She seems to be running pretty good with the Checkmate magazines. Blazer brass, 124 grain. Did have one failure to extract in that first 17 round magazine, but that could be the gun just getting used to the lighter recoil spring. It definitely seems to have a lot less recoil. It shoots flatter with the 8-pound spring. Now really quick to cover the magazine comments from 2 weeks ago's video, because people were big mad that I tried to run Prodigy mags in this. Well, I had one guy say, that's like running SIG mags in a Glock. Well, no, it's not, because the Prodigy uses 2011 pattern magazines. So does this. 2011 is a platform at this point, just like AR-15 or Glock Gen 3. So what it is really like is running Magpul Glock mags in a Glock, and they should run in that, and this should too. So Prodigy mag, a SIG mag doesn't go in a Glock like that. Prodigy mag, and what do you know, it chambered around. Prodigy mags should work in this gun. So it was totally normal for me to test it with a different brand of 2011 magazine. Do you understand now? The thing is though, is I have talked to a lot of people since that first testing of this pistol, a lot of 2011 owners that have told me that the only mags that their 2011s choke up on are the Prodigy mags. So I bought more Checkmate mags. They're expensive. These are the mags that, come with staccatos. They're not cheap, but you know what? If that's what it takes to make the masses happy, plus, I want my gun to be reliable, and if Prodigy mags don't run well in it, then why am I going to use Prodigy mags? They do run perfectly in my Prodigy though. So, all good. I've got Prodigy mags for the Prodigy, and I've got Checkmate mags for the 2311 here. So, I feel like I have covered my bases as far as everybody's issues from the last video. So how did this thing run now? Well, I did have one failure to extract in the first magazine, which was one of the 17-round magazines. Had zero issues with any of the 20-round magazines. And like I said, with the 8-pound recoil spring, it shot much flatter, much softer, and it felt really, really good. Also, Optic not coming loose now. That's a nice thing as well. And again, full-size optic on a full-size gun. So where do we go from here? I will be documenting the next 800 rounds as well on my way to 1,000. 100 rounds the first day, 100 rounds today. So this thing is feeling really good now. The different recoil spring and the different optic and putting a light on the end actually made quite a big difference in how this gun felt and shot. But we're gonna make it even better. So I reached out to Evolution Gunworks, EGW, and they sent me their ignition kit. So I've got the sear spring, I've got a mainspring, 17-pound mainspring here. I've got their hammer, I've got the sear, I've got an Atlas flat face trigger here, medium black. I like the medium flat trigger. That's what I've got in the Prodigy there, and it's fantastic. And EGW also sent me some more Prodigy parts too, so we will be doing a video about that. But I've got some more upgrades that are gonna go into this pistol, and we're just gonna make it frickin' sweet. We're 163 rounds in on this so far, and with the optic that's not coming loose because I've got the correct screws, a little bit lighter recoil spring, and again, only using Checkmate magazines now. Make everyone happy in the comments. This gun's feeling really good. What I think that this pistol is perfect for is for modification, customization. That was another comment I got in the last one. I'll be here for the update. I can't wait to see you break it. How would I break it? Obviously, whoever wrote that comment has never worked on their own guns, maybe. It's pretty hard to break a gun. You put a part in, it doesn't work, take it out and put the original part back in. These things are not really rocket science. Now, yes, doing a 2011 does require some hand fitting. But I've done that stuff with my Prodigy. Now, I did have Skip's guns originally put the ignition kit in, but I did the thumb safeties myself, and I've learned a lot about the platform since then. Now, I might put all this stuff in myself, or I've been in talks with Cosent Arms. Maybe we'll do that because they do work on this gun and they do great work. So, still figuring that out right now, but I gotta tell you, man, the 8-pound recoil spring sure makes this slide feel smooth. And I know some of you are gonna hate to hear this. Feels like a Staccato XC. So I think that you get a lot of gun for your money with this thing. Yes, it's had some, a couple of failures in the first 200 rounds, but a lot of 1911s, a lot of 2011s do have a break-in period. And in fact, even Staccatos now come with a card in them that says, this gun is not lubed from the factory, make sure you clean and oil it, and that it has a 500 round break-in period. So the fact that this has had a couple of issues in the first couple hundred rounds does not worry me yet. And I think that this is a gun that is just made for customization. You get, like I said, a lot of gun for your money. This thing being, about 1,000, we're gonna say fun tickets because of YouTube's policy on gun pricing now, which is a lot less than, something like a Staccato XC. Well, that leaves you a lot of room to get, upgraded parts from EGW, Atlas Gunworks, Wilson Combat, premium companies, premium parts that you can put in this thing, and I'm sure make it into something absolutely phenomenal, because I put premium parts in my Springfield Prodigy, and that thing, I've shot some really high-end 2011s. If you did a blind taste test, you're not going to tell much of a difference between that and something that costs many times more than it. Because it's the parts that matter. And the thing is that the slide to frame fit on this thing, the barrel lockup, all of that is pretty good. And in fact, even the trigger, not bad from the factory. It's a good 1911 trigger. A little bit heavy for my taste for that style of gun. So we're going to tune it down to about 2.5 pounds, just like that Prodigy there, with the Atlas flat trigger and the EGW parts, and we're going to make this thing sweet. But let me know down in the comments what you guys would do to a gun like this, because I'm also thinking maybe aluminum grip module. Now, this grip actually feels really good. It is very grippy. It's got, very aggressive checkering on the front strap and the mainspring housing. And so it does not move around in your hand at all, which is sweet. But, you want it to look cool too, right? I think an aluminum grip module might be pretty sick on this thing. And I'm also thinking a multicam Cerakote job. I would like to just, might as well just make this gun just super badass, right? This thing is feeling a lot better its second day out. If you're on the fence about purchasing this gun, I say go for it. It is turning out to be pretty much exactly what I expected when I purchased it. Now, I had already, felt it at the shop, and it felt really good. Smooth slide, good fit, decent trigger, incredible features for the money. But I figured, okay, it's at a certain price point. It's probably gonna have some reliability issues. And I wasn't wrong about that. But again, I'm hoping that these are just break-in issues. And I really do think, a little bit of money and some premium parts, and you can make this into an incredible gun. So, if you are not ready to spend $4,500 on a Staccato XC, but you want a Island Barrel comped 2011 like this, man, you can get this for less than a quarter of the price. Put some new parts in it, and I think have something really sweet. So we will be doing update videos every week or two here until we get to 1,000 rounds on this thing. We will be putting new parts in it. We will be, customizing it, upgrading it, and doing what we do on Sawtooth Tactical, because there is not a single pistol behind me that doesn't have some kind of upgrade or customization. Even down to this 1911, it's got lock grips on it. Now, that's the only different thing on that gun, but I just can't leave anything well enough alone, And one of my favorite things about firearms is upgrading them, customizing them, building them out. I mean, it's just fun. So, and this is a perfect gun for doing that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Let me know down in the comments, positive or negative, what you think about this gun or my plans to make it into something even better. I would love to hear from you guys. Again, positive or negative, it's good entertainment for me. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.